Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody here. I know this is one thing, and make sure. Yes, I got audio. Great. This is one that you guys have been asking for a long time, and the price of Tesla is exactly between $179 and $180 today, and it is the 19th of May, 2023. Let's jump in. I want to talk about this company. I've been watching Elon Musk for a long time. In Silicon Valley, all that he has achieved, all his history, everything he touches turns to you know what. It's a very special company. But I've been particularly obsessed with Tesla for the last 5 years, and I look at everything that they do every single day. And it was just over 4.5 years ago, I bought a Tesla X, and that sealed the deal for me. And I YOLO'd into a bunch of options like I do, and the rest is history. But it was a big part of, helping us all get to where we want to be. And this is about this company, why it's so special, why everything that they try and do, they solve, and they do things that nobody else has done. And that's what's special. They even build their own ERP, CRM, analytics software, and there's no other company in the world like them. And that's why it is the asymmetric equity of the next decade, I'm convinced. And let me show you why as well. And of course, my key doesn't work. So I'm going to do this with disclaimer. None of this is investment advice or retirement advice. And I'll add a playlist here for all my previous Tesla valuation videos, going over a whole bunch of different scenarios, breaking down the component parts, whether it's a semi, robot, etc. These are all big things, and they're getting bigger as every day goes on. So let's talk about analysts first. Here you see some institutional price targets. Per year end, typically institutions go out a year, and you can see clearly there's a big bifurcation between the two different groups. So you can pull this out while I'm doing this. Reset my Bluetooth key. But basically, the only thing you need to take away from this is Wall Street institutional analysts don't know what they're doing. They can't understand what Tesla is because they compare it to the system. As Jeff Booth would say, you can't measure the system from the system. You got to measure from the outside. And these guys are measuring Tesla against General Motors, Ford, etc. Craziness. Now, the retail investors and analysts, they are a lot smarter. They understand Tesla better. And it's like newspapers today, TV, etc. It's all garbage. But you get better content from individuals on the internet. So the whole world is flipped upside down. And that's great. And that's why we're here. So let's talk about some analyst valuations. It's going to be a lot of numbers today, but that's why you guys are here. And the channel's obviously about them as well. But these are some analyst valuations from 2027 onwards. Just a few. Not many go out this far, but I'm going to talk about ARK Invest first. They have 2027 numbers. They've got their expected value of $2,000 a share. Remember, Tesla's $180 right now. The bear case is $1,400 and the bull is $2,500. So adding a small factor on top of those of about 30% growth. 2028 will take it to $2,600, 2029 $3,800, and 2030 $4,394. So I tried to basically align a bunch of different analysts out to the year 2030 because that is important. Then we have a whole bunch of other analysts, all say 1,500. Ron Barron says 1,500, but it's only for cars. He doesn't include any of the other stuff like energy, robots, etc. Traders Union have a price target of 3,023, etc., etc. So there's just some analyst targets to kind of quell the fear so you don't think I'm completely crazy. Then you have other types of targets that sometimes, you can look at thumbnails on YouTube, etc. Other 20, 30 valuations like $100 or $30,000, $200,000, $10,000, crazy stuff, $5,000, etc. by 2030. And Tesla to 12x from ARK. Again, ARK are very special. They're very, very good at what they do. But they had one mistake when they looked at Tesla for 2027. They only looked at robotaxi. In fact, for their bull case, the robotaxi makes up 67% of the market cap of their price target, which is great because they're ignoring all the other value. So when you layer all that in, you get a lot more. So now, warning everybody, we're going to jump into some of my numbers. Okay, again, I sandbag everything an awful lot because I don't want to ever come back in the year 2030 or 2032 and see that these numbers are wrong. And I come with a high degree of confidence that they are good. But again, if you are concerned in any way, take my bear case and use that as a place to grow. But first, I'm going to talk about some of the exponentiality that we talk about a lot on this channel. So this is just a new milestone for Tesla to show you how they operate. For the first 12 years, they created 1 million cars. 7 months later, they created their 4th million car. So you can't even put this on a chart because to get to the first million took 12 years. To get to the next 4x that, it took 7 months. And that's what we're talking about. That's what people can't wrap their heads around. It's just too steep. It's too exponential. In addition, shout out to Dave Lee. I love this chart, and this is what people, hey Zeno, thank you so much. This is what people need to understand. The S-curves colliding. Okay, these are 4 technology adoption S-curves. Tesla, first one was EVs, second is FSD, robotaxi. That FSD is real close, ladies and gentlemen, and you only know it's close when you have it. Third is energy and energy storage, and fourth is AI robots. I mean, the Tesla FSD technically is a robot on wheels. It sees, it reacts, it's a neural net, it's everything else. And that's what people fail to understand. They compare it to things that burn gasoline using spark plugs and stuff. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, let's also talk about more exponentiality. This is how the total addressable market, which is critical to Tesla as they grow so fast, they need things to absorb all of the stuff that they build. And here, as they drop the price of their vehicles, they explode their total addressable market. Okay, so the easy way to think about this is if you cut your price in half, you increase your total addressable market by 16.6 times. And that is insane. And when you have a car that is already far better than the competition at less price, it's game over. And then you bundle in FSD. I mean, there's nobody even close. There's nobody even in the universe that can compete with these guys. In addition, I put together a couple of different models. One is Tesla price forecast based on earnings growth. Okay, so this is all pretty logical, but whatever you want to take as your you believe they could grow earnings at is at 30%. That would be the low bear case. Many analysts believe they can keep at least 40 to 55% earnings growth through 2030. And I'm just plugging in the blue one here. That is the 30%. Then you've got your red 35% earnings growth. And then 45% is kind of baseline of what they can do over the next 10 years. That would take the price of the share to $10,000, which is, again, completely unthinkable. But if you can turn on margin and go to 50%, the price of your share goes to $16,000. 55%, you go to... this weird, those numbers don't correspond to what's showing on the thing here. But don't worry about that. The point is, price will go bonkers. Now, what they have is the ability to pull so many levers to increase margin exponentially. They can sell a car for $25,000 and then sell FSD for $7,500 or $15,000 or whatever they want. And that's pure margin to the bottom line. Now, next is the Tesla price forecast based on PE ratios. So you can look at earnings and then you can toggle the PE based on what the valuation is of the business, which is very important too. So based on my assumptions, if you assume the stock in the year 2032 has a PE ratio of 15, the price target would be 3,500. Again, 2032. If you go to 30, it's 7,000. If you go to 40, a very rich valuation, it would be 9,300. And these are all crazy, crazy numbers. But remember, I got to them because of this video, which I'll add here, 8 ways to $8,000. I broke down all the product lines of Tesla and showed you the theoretical way, heavily sandbagged, of how they can get to $8,000 a share, again, by the year 2032. And that's 10 years from now. So this is the attribution of how they get to $8,000 a share. Vehicles, okay, brings in about $1,600. So if you imagine they do nothing else but sell cars, the stock is worth $1,600. Then your robotaxi brings in another $1,400. And this is where I differ from ARK. 67% of their value is robo-taxis. Then Megapack, nearly $2,000 a share. And then bots. And Elon Musk said it. And I did this. I created this model before he spoke at the annual general meeting. And Elon Musk said, bots will be the biggest margin generator for the company. He also said many other great things as well, like the fact that once they automate, once they turn FSD on for millions of cars, it'll be the biggest explosion in asset valuation in the history of the earth. Again, you can't, and he wouldn't say this stuff. He doesn't exaggerate. He might get his time series wrong a little bit, but he doesn't exaggerate. So just another view of my attribution. You can see here I pointed to ARK Invest. There's a 67% attribution to Robotaxi. I'm only 16.7%. Megapack, energy storage is a huge business, which he said as well many years ago that would be bigger than the car business. I have a 23.5%. Bots, 27%. And again, we're going at 10 years. They already have these things walking around in the wild right now. And vehicles, 19.6. The rest of the stuff is kind of crumbs. And the astounding thing from this model, though, is you could have a couple of these businesses just fizzle and go away, like bots, etc. And they're still going to do really well. And that's what's impressive. And all these numbers are sandbags. So check out that 8 ways to 8,000 video if you haven't seen it already. Now, we have other experts too, like Sandy Munro. He says Tesla will go to $1,000 in 3 years or less. And he said, no problem. And the reason he is so confident in that is not because he knows how far ahead Tesla are, but he knows the competition too, and he knows they are dead. And that's why he's so bullish in Tesla. They have no competition. So, and as we also say here, this is the asymmetric equity bet of our lives. So let's get in and talk about exactly where I believe the price would go and how I model, and a quick refresher on how this whole thing works. So we picked the top 12 destination requests from the community and we modify them out. So we are also working on a new model, which is going to be super, super cool. And I want to get this to a place one day where hopefully people will be able to go online, configure their assets, find out if they have enough to retire, and also choose on a persona-based experience, what type of retirement destination do they want? Do they want it to be safe, cheap groceries, Bitcoin friendly? Do they want a beach? Do they want low crime? Do they want good hospital systems? Do they want proximity to airport? This is what JDog in the community has been working on, and it's incredible. All the countries in the world stratified across all the detail that you need. So we're going to integrate this into the model and hopefully get to a space one day. My vision is so you can tailor your own retirement program around your bags, identify your gaps, and make your plan for the future. Again, planning for the future, very important. That's why we're all here. In addition, a quick explanation as to how this model works. On the top left corner, you'll see PTS. That means price targets. Now you'll see analysts says 2030 because that's the table I showed you. They don't go beyond 2030. My predictions are for 2032. So take that with a grain of salt and take these numbers and play with them however you want. So per this, you have my price prediction. My low price prediction for 2032 is 26.81. The analyst average across all of them is 3,164 by 2030 for Tesla. And if you do the math today, that's approximately, what would that be? 15x, 16x from where the stock is today. My expected case is about $5,181. My bull case, $8,188. And the average of all of these is 4,803. But, pick the one you want or sandbag it. Maybe pick your low expectation of $1,500. Go with that and then build around that. I always add a lot of padding. Now, the balance is the beginning balance of how much you will have before you actually retire. Then the retirement start date is 2032. And that's, 9 years from now, 10 years from now. Then the average retirement for humans on Earth is 19 years. I added 5 more to be safe. That takes us 24 years of retirement. And then the total balance at the end of 2065, I also add in a little extra margin so you can technically leave something to your loved ones. I also assume an appreciation rate on the asset of 15%. That means after 2032, Tesla will continue to go up by 15% per year, or you could swap into another asset. There might be a new Tesla 2.0 in the year 2032, who knows? And inflation, that's the debasement of your fiat, is assumed at 6% globally. It could be higher, could be lower, but I thought 6% was high. So if you look at between the capital appreciation of 15% and the 6% inflation, you're netting 9%. And then on the right is the cost to buy the bag today that you need to retire on. So if you take my low prediction and you want to retire in, say, North America, you'll need 193 shares of Tesla, and that'll cost you $34,517 today to retire in the year 2032. So that's the how it works out of the way. And let's just jump in and run through these countries. You know them all. I'll go real fast. I also, for those that have illegal or government entities that say exactly how much you're going to need to retire in such and such a year, I share that. So the US, per the Economic Policy Institute, 65-year-old couple, this is two people, not one. Many of them are just for one people. You need $2,900 a month to maintain the retirement that you need. So I think that's way too low. And that also assumes you're going to get some Social Security and other stuff like that, but forget that. So USA, I believe you will need about $5,488 a month to retire. And looking at the amount of stock, Tesla shares that is today, that means you would need 193 based on my low prediction, and my bull, 63. So there's a big difference. The expected is about 100 shares on the nose, and the average is 108. So if you are looking to retire, set your milestone as, the first milestone being 108 shares, and then double it just to make sure you cover the low as well. And that also assumes that you'll be able to spend that amount per month, 5,488, starting in the year 2032, which is, of course, indexed over time. And the cost to buy that bag today low is $35K, and the average of all is about $20,000. So again, for many, it's stunning to believe how just a small investment of $20,000, I know it may seem a lot, in this asset could be life-changing, but really it can. And it's not just me that says that, it's tons of other analysts that I backed up here too. So next country in the box is Deutschland. Here they say you need about 1,500 euros a month. Again, I say nope, a lot more than that. So here, this is, I translate the euros back into dollars, keep everything in dollars for simplicity. You need just about $5,000 a month. That is on the low case of shares, 174 Tesla shares, and the average of all 97, which is not bad. India, another highly requested place. Again, their expectation of what it costs to retire, 60-year-old couple in 2032 is very, very low. Again, I made it for cities like Mumbai and Delhi, which are much more expensive. You need about $1,951 a month to retire. And that would take, based on the low, 69 shares. Based on the bull, 22, and the average of all is about 38 shares of Tesla to retire in India. Then we have the UK. They say you need about £2,390, which is about $3,000. Again, I say nope. You need about $4,538 a month to retire well in the UK. Same thing as before. Low case, 159 shares. Expected case, 83. And average of all, about 89 shares. So get at least 100 shares first, then work up to 160, and of course have other bags in place like Bitcoin, etc. Let's talk Canada. A lot of viewers in Canada as well. They say you need about $65,300 a year, which is $5,400, and that's in Canadian dollars. That turns into $4,644 US dollars. Again, 163 shares on the low end. Bull case 53, average of all 91 shares. Then we go to Ireland. They say you need about €2,500, which is $2,700. I say nope. You need about $4,311, a little more than that. Low case for shares, 151 shares. Expected case 78, and the average of all about 85 shares. To buy that bag today, $27,000 for the low expectation, and the average of all about $15,000. Again, it's stunning to think that a lot of people pump a lot of money into their retirement accounts, but start socking some away into this asset class. That's the big message here. Thailand, here, again, we covered this before, about $1,500 a month. I say no, about $2,184. And I go to multiple sources to get this data. Low expectations, 77 shares. The bull, 25, and the average of all about 43 shares to retire in Thailand. And I know a lot of people do actually in the community from all over the world. They like to go there. Then Portugal, need about $3,952, 139 shares on the low end. On the average of all, 78 shares. And the cost to buy those 78 shares today is just under $14,000. Australia, $5,229. Australia is more expensive. This assumes somewhere like Adelaide or Melbourne, not Sydney, which is more expensive. And on the low end, 184 shares, 33,000 to buy that bag today. And on the average of all, 103 shares, about 18,000. A lot of things seem to be gravitating around the average of all about 100 shares. So make that 100 shares your first goal and then double it. Mexico, $2,848. Mexico is getting expensive. The ILO is exactly 100 shares, and the average of all is 56. That is interesting. Then we have Vietnam. Vietnam, the low is, I said interesting because it's exactly 100 shares. So that's what got my attention. Then you have Vietnam, 51 shares on the low end, 29 on the average of all. The cost to buy that bag today is $5,000. And finally, Costa Rica. A lot of people in North America like to retire in Costa Rica. That'll cost you about $2,801 a month. They have very good medical systems, etc. That'll be 98 shares and average of all about 55 shares, about $10,000 worth of Tesla. Now, and I'll do more of these. A lot of people were asking, can you do it just 5 years out? People want to retire early. What would it take? I'm working on that as well. And we'll be doing more combos of these. It's like, what happens if I have Tesla and Bitcoin and a little Ethereum and a little bit of stock X? Drop the comments below of what you want me to look at, because I listen and read everything and put it into the big model, which will become more automated, and I'll be able to do this better and faster and hopefully create a self-service way to use service yourself. Quick reminder in the conclusion here. First of all, this is where people get tripped up. Tesla is not a car company. I did a little tweet the other day. I think it was 2 days ago. Actually, it was yesterday. Oh. I said, who is nuts? Elon Musk, who sees Tesla as an AI company that makes robots with an energy business on the side, or Wall Street that sees Tesla as a car maker in competition with General Motors and Ford. So it's a lot of people think, maybe Twitter is a big, echo chamber for Tesla fans, but at least the majority think Wall Street is a bit crazy. 7% think Elon Musk is crazy. Yes, he is. You wouldn't be able to achieve what he does without being a little bit crazy to take on all that he does. And again, this beautiful graphic here of the transformation from steam to little whatever that wagon is to a gasoline ice car, and then electric vehicle. We've come a long way in a short period of time. So remember, do not think of it as a car company, because that will lead you astray. Next, conclusion, part 1. Tesla is also the most innovative company of our generation. Everything they do pushes the limits. All their offerings are designed around colliding S-curves, and AI is the future, and Tesla is the clear leader. That is just so important. Everything they do feeds off each other. FSD they're building for cars is technically a robot on wheels. The same technology is used for the robots to be able to see and operate in the world in which they operate. Conclusion part 2. Tesla really have no competition. They build moats. They are getting into things like lithium refining because nobody else can scale. They want to make sure they are in a position to make 20 million cars by the year 2030. And they think 7 years ahead of others, and they have a 7-year head start of all the others. And they build margin into everything that they do. Even their supercharging network is all profitable. And they focus on production at scale. Every single component, every single widget for everything that they do, they make themselves. They build all their own software. There's no other company in the world that does all this. They build everything themselves. Every other company that has to go license enterprise software or buy a widget or a semiconductor, they're giving away margin and they're building that into the cost that they charge the customer. Tesla don't have to do that. They build it all themselves. And that's another thing that people have a hard time wrapping their heads around. And part 3, this is a shout out to Farzad. I heard him there yesterday or the day before. We're talking about the biggest risk to Tesla. Yes, there is risk. But the biggest risk at this stage is probably monopolistic risk, because Teslas are everywhere in Los Angeles. This is a funny little meme. Shout out to Kaz. I think he put this together in Discord. So appreciate that. But literally, they are taking over. And who would buy an ICE car in this day and age when they know the price is going to zero real fast? And then ICE manufacturers will not be able to sell their cars. Once the Cybertruck comes, a huge amount of all the attribution that is made by Ford is going to go away. They sell, I think, 600,000 F-150s a year, plus 20,000, I think, electric ones. That's all going to go away. And by the way, Ford lose over $100,000 on every Ford F-150 electric that they make. So it's kind of crazy. So with that, everybody, that's the show. I believe in multiple legs in the stool. Get good sized bags of multiple disruptive assets. Make a 5-year plan, make a 10-year plan, and be ready. This will be a special asset for the future. Thank you all for the likes. Keep the comments coming below. Let me know what you want, and I'll do more of this. And I love doing it because it's exciting, because I'm in the same boat as you guys. I want to make sure I have enough too. So thank you all. Thank you to the mods in the chat, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.